Hey, time for another YouTube video. Long time no YouTube. So, yeah, I felt like I had a reason to make a YouTube video today. This is the aftermath of my game against Hippo Run. It's not the first time I encounter him. He's hanging around 1200 elo, just like myself. And we've crossed swords a couple of times. I think he has taken most of the games, but this one was special. He's fairly close. I actually have better tech than him. He has quite a lot stronger economy. Militarily, we're fairly close. I'll show you how this happened. It's quite an unorthodox way that we got to this point. I'm going to restart the replay. So before I do that, a little bit of background. First of all, it's Arabia. I random, as always. Side note, before I do the rant that is actually the topic of this video, my always returning rant is I know this is controversial, but I think random civ should be mandatory for 1v1 ranked. I know Spirit of the Law tends to say don't tell anyone you're enjoying the game the wrong way, but if you play the same civ on the same map every single time, I'm going to say it, you're enjoying the game the wrong way. And not only are you enjoying the wrong way, other people are also forced to face the same civs all the time, and it's boring. Right now, this is the way it works. It's not. There are pros and cons. I realize that, but I think the cons are stronger than the pros for picking civs freely for 1v1. Not team. In team, you should be able to pick your civs, so you can get cool combos, and that's part of a team game, to pick your civs. But for 1v1, yeah, I stand by my claim. I think random civs should be default and mandatory. But anyway, that's a different conversation. I randomed Malay, which is fine. Malay is a great civ. Their faster age-up bonus can be put to a lot of cool uses, and that was my idea here. I was up against Franks, which is obviously a very strong Arabia civ. They have faster berry bush collection. They get the mill upgrades for free. They have strong cavalry, and they have cheap castles. Lots of, well, not lots of options, but lots of help on the way towards what you want to do, which is heavy cavalry. Alternatively, if you're up against superior heavy cavalry, which I don't know if that even exists, but if you're up against something that you don't want to send your heavy cav into, maybe a strong camel civ could be a situation like that. Franks can also go pikes and hand cannoneers, or pikes and throwing axemen, or something like that. But standard play for Franks is cavalry, right? Scouts and then into heavy cavalry. So I knew that was going to come, very likely, and my plan was as follows. Yeah, I was going to use the H-up, faster H-up, to get to feudal age faster, take on the Franks at their own game initially and make scouts, hopefully get the first blood in the Scouts War, catch him when he was still in Dark Age, or just hit feudal maybe, before he got a real army. Get an advantage that way, then get to Castle Age, boom a little bit, and obviously Castle Age is also faster, so get the Castle Age faster, boom a little bit, get an eco lead, start making archers, get to Imperial Age faster, get those crossbows to become arbalest, maybe mix in some pikes, just because Frank cavalry is still dangerous, even if he's kicked while he's down a little bit. Mix in some either rams or traps and win the game. It's a pretty standard Malay approach, and it's very strong. And I would say Franks are strong, Malay are strong. It's a fair matchup. It's an entertaining, fair matchup because it's two civs that have very different approaches. But yeah, I think it's a fair matchup. So I was actually very excited for this game. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm gonna turn up the speed because we don't have to see everything in real time. We can speed up, but I'm not going to turn on like Marco Polo, see everything, because I want to focus on my side of this, because this is about my experience. Okay, so it's a fairly clean and nice Dark Age, if I'm to say so myself. Yeah, idle there for a little bit, but apart from that, I think it's pretty good. Finding all my sheep. Yeah, pull up the score. Yeah, very close. Scouting, finding my boar there. The other boar is behind here, which is kind of, yeah, he comes out now and then. So I know he's here, so that's not a problem. I bring in both boars in good time, and just standard. Yeah, walling with houses right away. I know that even though even if I'm pulling off this plan, according to the plan, and get to him faster than he gets to me, there's still a danger that he will think that, okay, I'm being raided, I have to raid back, and then he'll appear in my base instead of necessarily just defending. They'll try to get in some counter raiding, so it's smart to be walled even if you're planning to go on the offensive. So I'm starting that, so walling, and so far so good. 19 pop, 20 pop, and I'm planning to go up on 21, get loom, and then go up on 21 pop. Getting the barracks up, and he's a good scouter. I'll give him that, because he appears here, and he attacks my ville. Unfortunately for him, I've just gotten loom, so I'm winning this fight. He tries to escape here, but he dies. So I pick up his scout, which is obviously great, because that means he has yet another scout that is not going to be in the scout war that could otherwise have been there. So that's a point to me when it comes to winning the initial engagement that is going to happen. And, okay. I bring this lady over, and I'm like, okay, I'm Malay. Fuelage should be, is it a minute and a half or something, standard? And Malay gets it at a 66% of the time spent. Like, they only have to spend 66% of the research time for other civs to get to the new age. So it should be something like 50 seconds or something like that. And as you can see, the bar has reached the end. And I've sent this lady over because I knew that she would finish the barracks and then I would be more than feudaled already, so she would be ready to build the stable. So I needed to turn all this delicious food into scouts. And I have a solid lead, so I'm feeling really good about this. My scouting is good, I know where he is, I know his resources, I'm ready to build that stable. I know he doesn't have a scout, but I don't get to feudal age because the bar is just sitting there. I click the town center. What is this? I'm glad I hit it at 64, because what's going to happen is it's going to go to 66, and then I get the tech, or then I get the age up. So the Malay bonus has been nullified. It's not here anymore. But instead of it just advancing slowly, or normal speed, it advances as fast as it always has for Malay. Or actually, not always. They used to be even faster. But in DE, it has always advanced at the rates that, like, 66% of the normal time is what it takes. But instead of advancing slowly at normal speed, it still advances at Malay speed, but it counts beyond 100%, so it counts to 166% before you get the tech. It's the weirdest bug. I just have to wonder, how do they do this? How do they get these esoteric bugs into every single patch? I don't think DE has released one single patch, and they release one every month. So they've had a few. Not one single patch without some super weird bugs. And especially this one, not especially, but they're all weird, but Malay, their bonus is screwed up. I don't think there was any change to Malay in this patch. How did this happen? I would like to see the code for Definitive Edition. It must be a complete mess. If you ever take a programming class or online course or whatever, a big portion of the class, if it's a good class, a big portion of the class should be just programming etiquette. Documentation is important. Make sure that when you write code, you give good explanations of what things are and what they do, so that if other people come to work on your code, or if you come back after a while so you've forgotten what you were doing, it's easy for you to pick it up or for someone else to pick it up because it's well explained. Also, the methods that you build your code with, methods are like snippets of code that do specific things that you can use different places in code, kind of like a template in a way. So like you've had your program do a specific task before, and you're probably going to have it do similar tasks again somewhere else in its functionality, right? And then you can use the same method. Again, it's kind of programming technical if you don't do programming, but anyway, those methods should be very like in confined box, kind of. It should be very specific in what it does, and it shouldn't do anything else. What novice programmers, including myself to be honest, often do is they build methods or functions, that's a different word for it, method and function is the same, that are too big. They do too much, so that if you change one part of it, it's going to have unforeseen consequences because it reaches into a different area of your code and changes something you didn't intend to change. I have a feeling that DE has to be made like that, with terrible methods like that. How else would this happen? How else do you change Tatars, Persians, and Khmer and a few general game mechanics, and in some mysterious way the Malay age up bonus is broken? How does that happen? The code has to be absolutely awful. Okay, that's it for the rant. This is what happened. And there, at 166%, I get Feudal Age. After the Frank. Still have a solid score lead, and this lady is just standing here baffled because she doesn't realize why she can't build a stable. Lady, now you can build a stable. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, I think I write something in the chat. I don't think that's even coming up in the replay, but yeah, I'm like, LOL. I just spent 166% to reach Feudal Age. So much for picking Malay or something like that, I said, because that's what I was thinking. So yeah, I'm pretty baffled, but I'm still in a good spot. I have a score lead. I know that he has already lost a scout. I get housed, but well, I build another house, so it's not the end of the world. Problem is though, he has had time to wall at this point because he knows that I'm Malay, just as I know that I'm Malay, and he knows what to expect. I don't know if he knew that the bonus was broken. He said actually in chat, he responded to me and said, yeah, I've heard that it's broken. So maybe he even knew. But he has walled because he probably realized that early aggression is a good possibility with Malay. So he has walled. I'm not doing the best job at trying to find ways in. Like, I'm pretty passive. Like, there could have been holes here that I'm not even trying to find. So I regret that. But he gets in. He finds my hole, which is back here. This is a part of the wall that I haven't built yet. Very unfortunate. And he gets in there. And worst of all is he delays my gold, which means I'm actually... well, I don't think the gold is what I'm really waiting for to get the castle age, but it's just unfortunate. Very unnecessary. I managed to push him off. I have to bring my own scouts home. So, yeah, it's still up more than 200 points. So I'm not feeling like that lost me the game or anything, but it was very unfortunate, and I'm kind of throwing an advantage that I had. It's not just thanks DE, it's also thanks Donrim for throwing the advantage. And now it's way too late, right? I'm trying to go back, but now for sure he's fully walled. But okay, we didn't get the damage, the eco damage that we wanted, but I'm still going to stick to the plan. I'm going to go Castle Age, I'm going to get some ranges up. Here we go. Start to make those crossbows, initially archers, but they're going to become crossbows, and then hopefully a fairly quick Imperial Age, get Arbalest and push. That's the plan. Pretty standard Malay plan. Starting the archers, but I actually didn't really have the wood for more town centers anyway. This play isn't perfect. I'm kind of wasting wood on ranges and archers at a point where I probably should have saved it for town centers. His boom is better than mine. That is probably the most important mistake I do in this game. It's not really a mistake, it's more a lack of skill, to be honest. My boom isn't good enough. My score remains pretty high because I produce a lot of army, which isn't wrong. I need this army to protect against Frank cavalry, which is a menace for sure in this matchup. So I don't really regret that I built crossbows, but I regret that I didn't time things better so that when I reached Castle Age, I had the wood for town centers. And it even took longer for me to reach Castle Age than I actually wanted it to because of the bonus, right? So I should definitely have the wood for these town centers. So that's something I really have to work on. And that's fully my own fault, of course. And then there's this. He kills a couple of scouts sitting out here from Feudal Age. And that means I know he is here. This lady was sent down here to wall up. And she still has time to do it if she just does it right. But no, she wants to finish this house. The knights break through completely unnecessarily. I tried a quick wall, but that's a very feeble attempt. And I think these knights get maybe 8, 9, maybe 10 villagers in their stint in here. They fake an escape, and then they come back and slaughter more vills. He loses some knights doing this, but he escapes with most of his force. Loses a couple here, and then he loses most of the scouts and a couple more scouts. No, a couple more knights, but all in all, he did a lot of damage, and I barely have a score lead at this point. It's actually, yeah, he takes a score lead there. And this is his boom, I'm pretty sure. These are his villagers. I'm also producing, so it's, as you can see, super close at this point. We both have, or I probably have the stronger army. And what I should have done here, this is the next major mistake. At this point, I should have gone forward. I've seen his army, which I can assume is his full army, and there I actually see it again. This is probably all he has, 5 knights. These crossbows can easily snipe those knights. There's no reason to pursue them up here. I can just wall them out with villagers. I don't need my army to protect me here. I'm safe from knights. I should go into his base, put pressure on him. This is where I lose this game. In my opinion. This is the last point where I had a major advantage, and I'm not taking advantage of it. Or I'm not, taking that advantage that I have and running with it. Kill a random knight up here, that's good. Like, I'm keeping his numbers down because I'm sniping knights here and there. And I'm kind of saving. Well, at least that's what I should have done. I think I'm spending a lot of food here now. That's probably not a good idea. I probably should just go to Imperial Age as fast as possible at this point, because I know now we're not really fighting, right? This is just a standoff. Now it's a race for Imperial Age, and he wins that race. Yeah, because 1, I let him get away with a smaller army. than he otherwise would have had I put pressure on him. And 2, he has a better boom. I can tell from the score after the fact. I looked at the achievements. He has a better boom. Yeah, so he has cheap French castle or Frank castles. I know there are castles out here, and the proof is gonna appear here very shortly. He's gonna start trebbing my castle. He sent these squadrons of cav in, so he has seen the castle. He now has his target. He knows where my army is. Honestly, if I was him, I would probably just circumvent this castle and hit my economy with the cavalry instead. Because what he doesn't know is that I only have a handful of pikes. If I'd played this right, I would have had a ton of pikes, which would have made this encounter turn out very differently. I also should have put the pikes in front. But what happens here is he easily slaughters my pikes, and then he slaughters my archers, and the game is over. GG, well played. So the takeaway here, this is very interesting. Usually I'm really down after a loss. I have to like go for a run or something. I take losses really heavily. But not this time. One, because this was kind of force majeure. Like, I had a plan which I couldn't really execute because of a bug, right? So I didn't feel that bad, because I think this would have turned out differently if I had actually had a working Malay bonus. But also, I managed this time to view this as a learning experience, more so than I usually do. I hope I'm just getting better at that in general. Not just like sob over a loss, but actually learn from it. I've been talking about these things during the game, but I'm just going to recap quickly. 1, DE, please fix your bugs. But 2, I have to get better at my booms. I have to time my resources so that I can hit castle with what I need to do what I want to do. And in this case, build at least 2 town centers so that I can get the villagers going and just... I was at an advantage at that point, but I threw it slowly. It was like a slow throw by being out ecoed. And then in the end, he had the eco to quickly get to Imperial Age, get a decent group of heavy cav. I didn't click one of these, but they have the last armor upgrade, which is definitely the most important part of reaching Imperial Age as a heavy cavalry civ like Frank's, if you're up against archers. Actually, picking up the last armor is more important than clicking cavalier. You get more attack with the cavalier, but the armor is more important because the archers are soft targets, right? More attack doesn't do that much. These like knights have enough attack to kill archers. That's not the problem. The problem is that the archers sometimes, in some situations, can snipe the knights before they reach their target. So it's the survivability of your heavy cav that is important to upgrade once you get to Imperial Age, and that is the armor. You get +2 pierce armor from the last armor upgrade, right? So that's the most important. And he knew that. He could afford both that and Cavalier, so he was in a good spot. And he was able to surround my archers and dispatch of them. And that was the game. He could do whatever he wanted with this, right? And he keeps producing, so it's not like this is everything I have to deal with. I have to rebuild my army from scratch and then try to handle this. It's over. But what could I have done? Well, it would have been nice to have the upgrades, and it would have been nice to have a better boom. And lastly, I didn't really counter his units. The most solid counter here would have been pikes, right? I needed more pikes in front of my archers. I think I had like 8 pikes or something. Not at all enough. If I had had 20 pikes, I probably would have won this. Probably. If I had been sending 20 pikes in front to face off the cav initially, and then I had sniped like actually microed, because I didn't micro very well with my archers, but if I had actually microed them and sniped the cav in the back so that the pikes fight the front, right, and do damage to them, and then the archers should be able to one-shot the cav, so they snipe the ones in behind, so you don't waste damage by overkilling the ones that the pikes are already dealing damage to. So the most effective way to deal the most damage to the group of knights or cav that's coming at you. If I'd done that, I think I could have won this. I could have marched up this hill, destroyed the trebs, and I would have been in the spot that he's in now. With the army, complete map control pretty much, and the ability to just push into his base. So yeah, definitely things to learn from this game, both for me and for the coders of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Hope this was somehow entertaining and somewhat educational, maybe. I don't know. That's my hope. Hope at least you enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll be back with some more YouTube content in not too long. It's been too long since the last video. It's fun with YouTube videos. Get the time to sit down and talk a little bit. I'll definitely be on stream though. Mixer.com/Dawnrim. I'm on, not every day, but close to it. Check it out. And I'll see you around.